All right, Ultimate Hoops Nation. I'm here with Paul Schulz, Athletic Director of the Minneapolis Athletic Club. Just got done with the championship between the Spurs and the Nuggets. Was a close game for the most part until about the last 10 minutes, and the Spurs really pulled away.
Yeah, the Spurs kind of hung around, and it was a good trade-off between both teams. We knew it was going to be a good matchup, but at the 10-minute mark, the Spurs kind of caught fire. I think the Nuggets got a little tired, and the next thing you know, at the 10-minute mark, the Spurs had 29-7 run to win the game, 89-67, which kind of surprised me because I thought they were going to hang in there. But the Spurs, they really are tough because they got two big men in Billy Lawrence and Ron Garber, and of course our premier point guard, Calvin Walker. There has been nobody in the league this year to stop him, and he can penetrate the basket, and he is just so difficult to beat, and he wears a lot of players out.
Yep. Yeah, Kelvin had 30 points, 13 rebounds tonight. There kind of is really no way to stop him. He can shoot. He probably the best player going to the hoop in the league, I'd say. Kind of a matchup, going into the game you expected Luke and Tim Olmstead to be the leaders of the Nuggets. They were without Boston, correct?
Boston Weir.
Okay, so that's kind of their other, if you were to say, a three-headed monster. That's their third.
And he would have been very important in helping them out because he's a 15 to 20 point scorer, and when he gets on a roll, he's very difficult to beat. And I think that brings more balance to the Nuggets team when he's on the floor with them.
Yeah, and then you look at the Spurs. They have Kelvin Walker, and then the two big men that you mentioned, Billy Lawrence and Ron Garber. Ron's about 6'7", and Billy is, I think, probably about 6'4", and he's a bigger guy, and he can shoot, he can drive. He's kind of a utility big guy, but he plays good defense, can rebound. Billy had 17 points, 11 rebounds. Ron had 18 points, 8 rebounds. The Spurs, they out-rebounded the Nuggets. They had 12 offensive rebounds. They also outshot the Nuggets, which was a big difference in the game. They outshot them 59% to 35%.
Yeah, it really surprised me because, of course, without Boston Weir, it did give the Spurs the advantage. And I think you're being a little kind to Ron Garber. He's 5'9", yeah. And of course he played at Michigan. And he was a force in there. Not so much a scoring force, but he just controlled the boards and he passed well. I thought the Spurs were very good at getting all their players into the game. They all, at key times during the game, had key baskets, and it kind of kept them in the game, and I kind of demoralized the other team. The Nuggets, they just didn't seem to be able to match up and have the same intensity that the Spurs had towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I think, kind of just from what the defensive intensity of the Spurs kind of seemed, they kind of seemed to have the edge there too. Mike Munger of the Spurs, you don't see him much in the box score, but he played a heck of a game on Luke the whole game, holding them to 11 for 29 shooting. And in the previous game, when their semifinal game, when they only had 5 players, he was matched up against Matt Quammen the whole game, who's probably their best scorer, and he held his own there too. And so, the Spurs kind of had, I think they had kind of everything going for them tonight, and they just clicked. And you saw it there in the last 10 minutes how once they get rolling.
And we can't forget for the Spurs, Hugh Murdoch, 2 journeymen, and Joe Plank. Joe's always very consistent at the threes. He doesn't shoot a lot, but when you need the shot from Joe, he can give you that three-pointer. And Hugh's a workhorse on the boards and comes up with the loose balls. And, it was a team effort as well as having some really high individual scoring.
All right, so on to next season. Next season will start January 13th. We're going to mix the teams up again.
Right.
So we're going to mix the teams up again.
Of course, the Spurs would love to keep their same team. They're already lobbying for us to let them come back as a team. But we'll have some official meetings on that to decide what we're going to do.
Yep. So January 13th, if you sign up before or on December 26th, you can save $10. If you have any questions, comments, email Paul, and we'll see you next season.